Hello and welcome to On the Mat with Lydia. That's me, and whatever has brought you to your yoga practice today, you are very welcome here. Today's class is a beginner's yoga practice for balance. So in this class, we'll be physically finding balance, balancing on one foot, trying out some of these postures that our yoga practice has to offer, but also finding balance generally throughout your body so that by the end of this class today, you're feeling nourished and refreshed and ready to go about your day. So for this class, you might want to set up your yoga mat near a wall, the back of a couch, something that you can use to help support your balance whenever you might need it. You also can grab a blanket, just any old blanket off your couch, off your bed will do, and that will help to make your practice a little bit more comfortable for you today. So whenever you're ready, let's get on the mat. Let's start out today sitting cross-legged on your yoga mat. So I always like to sit up onto a prop like a folded up blanket just to really help support my hips because sometimes sitting on the ground just doesn't really feel comfortable. So if you want to grab a blanket, maybe a pillow, something you have nearby so that you can sit fairly comfortably on your mat here. And as you find some stillness, let your spine lift up tall. Arms rest by your side, maybe palms onto the thighs. And if it feels safe and comfortable for you, you can close your eyes completely. Otherwise, finding this soft gaze towards the floor in front of you. Using this time to close the eyes or soften the gaze as a transition from your day so far into this time of awareness on your yoga mat. This time when you can really focus your attention on you, on your body, on your breath, on how you're feeling. So let's take a few moments now to just kind of take stock, letting your awareness move through your body from head to toe and noticing any physical sensations going on here today. So anywhere that might feel tight or crunchy, any places that feel a little bit more open and comfortable. And using this time to be aware of however you're arriving to your mat today. And after you notice those physical sensations, you might like to take a moment to take stock of any emotions you might be feeling right now, any thoughts that might be moving through your mind. All of these things come together in your yoga practice, not just the physical, but the mental, the emotional, the energetic aspects of you. So without any judgment, without any expectations for yourself, take just a few more moments here to notice your body, your breath, your emotions, your mood. And this will be your starting point for the rest of your practice today. So let's all together now bring some attention specifically to the breath. Please take a breath in through your nostrils and feel your breath traveling through your torso. And as you take a breath out through your nostrils, notice once again how your breath moves up and out of your body. Inhaling through your nose, feeling your breath moving down through your torso. And exhaling through your nose, feeling how your navel gently draws in as you breathe out. And one more just like that. Inhale through your nose. And exhale through your nose. When you're ready, we're going to add just a little bit of movement to that breath. So if your eyes are closed, please flutter them open, readjust to the light in your space. If you're sitting cross-legged, you can switch the cross of your legs, just bringing the opposite foot in front. And lifting up tall once again, take that breath in through your nose and breath out through your nose. As you're ready, with your inhale, stretch your arms out and up to the sky. As you breathe out, let your arms come out and down. Again, following your breath, inhaling through the nose as your arms rise up. And exhaling through your nose as your arms float down. One more just like that. Inhaling, arms up. This time, maybe you look up towards your hands. Exhaling, arms down, letting your chin come back to neutral. Awesome. This time, as you inhale, arms sweep up to the sky. As you exhale, bring that left hand down next to you. Reach your right arm up and over as you lean to the side and find a stretch through your waist. Let's take an inhale right here and exhale through your nose. One more full round of breath. Inhale and exhale. Now with your inhale, lift back up through center. Both arms reach to the sky. As you exhale, that right arm is going to come down. The left arm reaches up and over, feeling that stretch through the side of your waist. Holding here for 2 intentional breaths. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose. Again, inhale. And exhale. Now use your inhale to lift you back up through center, reaching tall one more time. As you exhale, arms float down by your sides, coming back to that nice tall seat. Beautiful. From here, bring your weight over onto one hip, swing your legs around behind you, and come onto hands and knees. So if you happen to have a blanket that you are sitting on, great opportunity to find your knees on top of that blanket just to kind of bring in a little bit more cushion, a little bit more comfiness. As you find hands and knees, the shoulders are going to stack just about over the wrists, the hips over the knees. And you can either bring the tops of your feet towards the floor or tuck your toes underneath. So whatever feels a little bit more stable, more supportive for you, please feel free to go there. Now, from this tabletop position, take that inhale through your nose. Start to draw your chest forward. Let the belly drop a little bit here. As you exhale, begin to round your back, tucking your tailbone, tucking your chin. Then again, inhale, lengthen the crown of your head forward. As you lift your heart, kind of drop the belly. As you exhale, round your spine, lifting your belly button up, kind of like a Halloween cat. Then one more time with your breath, inhaling to lift your chest. This is our cow pose. And exhaling to round your spine. This is our cat pose. Now with your next inhale, lengthen out to a nice neutral spine. So a flat back here. Gaze is slightly forward. Tailbone is reaching towards your heels. We're going to start to shift some weight over into that left leg. As you inhale, send your right leg back behind you. So just lengthening out through that right leg here. Really push down through your hands. Lift up through your belly button. And when you're ready, take an inhale. Begin to hover that right foot any amount off of the floor. Now notice as the right leg lifts, if you start to shift your hips to the side, see if you can bring everything back to center, really long through the entire body. And that leg does not have to be lifted high here. We're going to take a breath in and breath out. One more, finding your balance here as you inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. One more breath to transition as you inhale, feeling that length. As you exhale, drop the right foot down, re-bend your knee, come back to that tabletop position. Beautiful. If you need a moment to come off the wrists, feel free to sit up, roll the wrists out for a second, and then we'll come back to that tabletop position. So this time we're going to shift some weight over towards that right leg, taking the left leg back behind you. Just start by stretching the leg out long. Notice if already your hips are starting to sway. Notice if you start to drop your belly, and see if you can keep this integrity through the core, lifting your belly button up and keeping your spine nice and long. Now when you're ready, inhale, play with hovering that left foot off the mat any amount, really kicking back through your heel as you feel that stretch through the back of the leg. 2 intentional breaths to hold here. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. One more, you got this. Inhale and exhale. Last breath to transition. Inhale, feel the length. Exhale, dropping the left foot down. Left knee comes back in to meet your right, finding that tabletop position. Awesome. Take a moment to wiggle the hips side to side if that feels good. Then we're going to walk the hands just a little bit closer to the top of the yoga mat here. Spread your fingers really, really wide and claw down through your fingertips, almost like you're trying to dig into the floor. Then tucking your toes behind you if they're not already tucked. Begin to shift your hips back towards your heels. Feel your arms get long here, and imagine wrapping your arms towards your ears so that the pits of your elbows start to point in the same direction as your thumbs. Then with those toes tucked, power up your legs, start to lift your knees, lift your hips high to the sky, coming into your downward facing dog pose. Now we're not going to stay for too long today, but just take a moment to feel the palms planted, the spine long, and the hips lifted really nice and high towards the sky. Then bend both knees. Maybe look forward if that feels okay for your neck. And start to walk your feet all the way up to the top of your mat until your feet meet your hands. Knees bend as you fold forward over your legs. Maybe hands come to rest on your shins, maybe your feet. Let's take a breath in right here. And breath out. From here, your hands are going to travel up to your hips, pushing your feet down into the floor, bending your knees. Take an inhale to slowly rise all the way up to stand on your yoga mat. Really taking your time as you come all the way up, standing tall with head stacked over your heart, stacked over your hips. Let's take a moment here standing on the mat. This is what we call our mountain pose or Tadasana. So arms will come and hang down by your sides. Feet will be planted either right underneath the hips or slightly wider to give you a little bit more support. And when we think about balance in our bodies, when we're trying to balance especially on one foot, we want to think about building the foundations from the ground up. So almost like you're building with Lego blocks, we're going to start with those really strong foundations and build from there. So take a peek down at your feet, if you would, and take a moment just to kind of rock around on your feet. So side to side, forward and back. And see if you can find that center spot where you're balancing right in the middle of your foot. So you're not shifting weight to one side, you're not shifting weight forward or back, but you're right there centered on the feet. So what that might feel like is the balls of your feet and the heels of your feet are really plugged into the mat. Your toes can relax, and then those inner arches of your feet are going to be lifting up away from the floor. So the feet are quite engaged here. Now, from those strong foundations of the feet plugging into the floor, feel this strength coming up through your legs. Knees are going to stay softly bent, but you can imagine this energy of lifting your kneecaps up towards your hips. From there, your hips are going to think about hugging together so that you have this strengthening through the center of your body. So again, feet are plugging in, kneecaps lifting towards the hips, hips and belly button hugging together. All right? So hopefully you're already feeling here that there's a little bit more intention with how you're standing here on the mat. And from that strength of the lower body, can you feel yourself lift up a little bit taller through your upper body? Awesome. So let's play a little bit more with some movement here now that we have those foundations. So plugging in through the feet, strong through the legs, up into the core. Let's take a breath in through the nose and breath out. Now as you inhale, arms sweep out and up. As you exhale, arms float down. Adding on even more, inhale, arms sweep up. As you exhale, arms come down, bend your knees, start to fold forward over your legs, coming back down. Shifting weight to your right foot, step your left foot back behind you and gently land that left knee down onto the mat. Coming into what we call our low lunge shape. So rooting down through that right foot, that same plugging in we just talked about. Finding your right knee stacked-ish over your right ankle. Rooting down through the hips as your hands find maybe the floor, maybe your thigh, maybe your hips, whatever feels most supportive and stable for your body right now. And let's stay for 2 intentional breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Noticing where you feel sensation in this pose as you inhale and exhale. Gently lowering your hands back towards the mat if you had them lifted onto the hips. Take another inhale in your low lunge. As you exhale, begin to shift your hips back, walking your hands back with you. Beginning to straighten that right leg any amount. So always keeping a soft bend into the knee, even as we look for length through the leg. Starting to feel this hamstring stretch, and you probably feel it quite quickly. The hamstrings usually take a little bit of time to wake up. So give yourself some grace here as we stay and hold for a breath in. And breath out. Feeling that stretch for another breath in. And breath out. Good. Now as you inhale, please rebend that right knee. Come back towards your low lunge. This time we're going to tuck those back toes and lift the back knee off the floor. So feel how you power up your leg as that left knee lifts. Gentle squeeze through that left glute as you kick your heel back. Really slowly start to climb your hands up to the top of your right thigh. Begin to lift your chest so that you can stand up nice and tall through the spine. Coming into our high crescent lunge here. Now, as always, you have some options with this pose. You might like to bend your back knee if that feels better for your body, especially if it helps you upright the spine. You also might notice if you're starting to feel a little bit wobbly, a little bit unbalanced, you can walk your feet wider apart, right foot to the right, left foot to the left, so that you have a little bit more space to find that stability. So choose what works best for you right here, maybe even finding a wall to hold on to if you'd like. Let's take a breath in here and breath out. One more here to feel the pose. Inhale and exhale. From here, inhale to shift your weight onto that front foot. Now as you exhale, little by little, we're gonna step that left foot forward, kind of inching our way all the way up to the top of the mat. Beautiful. So we're gonna keep that weight over on the right foot. I'm just gonna turn to face you, balancing on that right leg. So think about your foundations, plugging down through the foot, kneecap to your hip, and then hugging together at your core. So here we're already starting to find that single leg balance. If you want to explore a little bit further, you can play with lifting your left foot to hover off the floor. You can even think about lifting your knee up towards your chest as high as you want to bring that leg. And again, remember, you can always go to the wall here if you'd like a little extra support, or if you're near like the back of a couch, the back of a chair. Beautiful way to bring some props into your yoga practice so that you can get a little bit more comfortable with these balancing postures. So let's take just another 2 rounds of breath to explore this here. Inhale and exhale. It's okay if you start to wobble. Let's take another inhale and exhale. One more breath to transition. You got this. Inhale, balancing on that right foot. As you exhale, drop the left foot down. And let's come back to that mountain pose. Feet planted, arms by your sides. Take a moment to pause here. Just notice how that felt to balance on one leg. And we're going to try that on the other side, noticing that the left side is probably going to feel a little bit different than the right. So let's explore, let's see what happens. Rooting down to stand nice and tall. Take an inhale, sweep your arms out and up. As you exhale, arms come down as you fold forward over your legs, letting the knees bend. This time, stepping your right foot back behind you, gently lowering your right knee onto the mat. Again, back toes, you can have the top of your foot down or toes tucked underneath, whatever feels best for you, as we find our low lunge shape on this side. So hands once again can be down on the floor. Maybe you'd like to lift up to your thigh or hands come to hips. Really feeling this stretch through that right leg, this lengthening through your spine. 2 intentional breaths here. Inhale and exhale. You got this. Feel your foundations as you inhale and exhale. Gently bringing your hands back towards the floor if they're not already there. Taking one more inhale in your low lunge. As you exhale, begin to move your hips back. Hands come with you as you find some length through that left leg. Now I like to lift my toes off the floor. You might like to keep your toes down. It just changes the stretch for the leg a little bit here, so find what feels best for you. Lifting your chest over your thighs. If you were going to reach and kiss your toes, let's stay for another breath in and breath out. Again, inhale and exhale. As you inhale, rebend your front knee, come back through that low lunge shape. This time we'll tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, feel that strength all the way through the right leg. Now that front leg hasn't changed. We're still rooting down through the foot, keeping that bend in the knee. Hands are going to climb up to the top of your thigh as you lift your chest and come up into that high crescent lunge. Now again, you can keep that right leg extended back, feeling even more of a stretch through that right hip. If it feels nice for you, back knee can bend, no big deal. So wherever you want to land in this lunge, let's stay for a breath in and breath out. One more inhale and exhale. Now, as you inhale, think about bringing all your weight forward into that left foot. As you exhale, that right foot is going to step little by little, coming up to the top of your mat until you're up standing on that left leg. Awesome. Again, I'm going to turn to face you just so you can see what I'm up to. Left foot is plugged into the mat, left kneecap hugging up to the hip, hip hugging into center. Starting to balance on that right foot, maybe hands on hips for now, maybe reaching for a wall. And you can start by hovering that right foot off the floor. See how that feels? Maybe touch it back down, lift it up, touch it down. Maybe starting to lift that knee up higher towards your chest. Just exploring where you want to go here. About 2 more rounds of breath. So you're gonna notice that balancing on the left foot is way different than balancing on the right foot. That's totally normal. All of us have one side on which we balance a little bit more easily than the other. So let's stay for another inhale, balancing on the left leg. As you exhale, gently bring that right foot down. You got it. Shake it out a little bit if that feels good. Take a moment to come back to that mountain pose. And notice both legs here. So now that we've done both sides, notice how you feel. See if you can kind of center your weight directly over your feet so that you're not leaning to one side or the other. And let's stay here for a breath in through the nose. Open your mouth and exhale. All right, for round 2 here, we're gonna explore those same poses. The first time through was kind of an introduction to those postures. Now on the second time through, you can explore going a little bit deeper, all right? So from your mountain pose, take an inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Exhale, arms come down as you bend your knees and fold forward. As you inhale, step that left foot back behind you. With your exhale, gently drop the knee and come into your low lunge shape. Hands to mat, thigh, hips. This time maybe even reaching towards the sky if you'd like. Taking a breath in and breath out. Plugging down through that right foot. Inhale. And exhale. Lightly landing your hands towards the mat if you had them lifted. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, begin to rock your hips back, straightening through that right leg, feeling that hamstring stretch here. Inhale as you find the stretch. And stay for your exhale. No pain here as you inhale and exhale. Awesome. Inhale, rebend your front knee, come back towards your low lunge. This time, tuck in your back toes, lift the back knee. Feel that power through the left leg. Moving slowly, staying plugged in through that right foot, right knee nice and bent. Start to climb your hands up the thigh, lifting your chest as you come towards your crescent lunge. Maybe hands stay on your thigh, find your hips, maybe even reach for the sky as we take a breath in and breath out. Remember, you can bend the back knee, take an inhale and exhale. All right, now as you inhale, think about all your weight coming forward into that right foot. As you exhale, little steps or maybe one big step to get your left foot next to your right. Beautiful job. Taking a moment to really feel that rooting down through the right foot, strength through your right leg. And let's play once again with balancing on the right leg. So you can do what we did before, maybe just hovering the left foot, maybe lifting your knee to your chest. Or if you'd like, we're going to take this into our tree pose today. So for your tree pose, that hip of the left leg is going to turn open. So your knee is going to be pointing out to the left. Slide your left heel in until it touches your right ankle and start to find your balance here. So remember, you always have your trusty wall, your trusty couch, whatever it is that's giving you some support. Never a bad idea to use a prop or something, especially as you're starting out with this balancing work. So this is our tree pose part 1, finding that heel connected to the ankle. Part 2 of your tree pose, if you'd like to keep exploring, is to keep the left knee open and now slide your left foot up to your inner right calf. So we're staying below the knee still. We want to make sure that our foot is never pushing into the knee, but we're just lifting up a little bit more off of the floor. So we have to find our own balance a little bit more here. Awesome. Now it helps as you find your balance to look at one point that is not moving, just to help give you some steadiness in the body. Make sure wherever you are exploring this balance that you're still breathing. And all together, we're going to take 2 intentional breaths. So inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. You got this. It's okay if you wobble, if you fall. Take an inhale. Exhale. And one breath to transition. Take an inhale in your balance. As you exhale, gently release, stepping that left foot down next to your right. Notice how you feel. Shake it out if that feels good. And we're going to get ready to explore that on the other side. So when we think about our single leg balance in our yoga practice, it's not just so that we can do kind of fun poses on our yoga mat, but we do this single leg balancing every single day. When you're walking, you're balancing on one foot. So good news is you already know how to balance on one foot, and doing this yoga practice is going to help you stay really functional and healthy throughout your life. So meeting back in that mountain pose, if you're not already there, let's get ready for the other side. Take an inhale, sweep your arms to the sky. As you exhale, fold forward. Take your time. Inhale, step your right foot back behind you. As you exhale, lower your right knee to the mat and find your low lunge shape. You got it. Hands down on the mat, up on your thigh, up on your hips, or maybe, if you're feeling funky, arms reach to the sky. 2 intentional breaths as you inhale and exhale. Think about hugging your hips together underneath you as you inhale and exhale. Hands finding their way back to the mat if you had them lifted. Take an inhale in your low lunge, drop the hips. As you exhale, move your hips back as you start to straighten through that left leg, finding your sweet hamstring stretch. 2 breaths here as you inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose or mouth if you'd like. One more here, inhale and exhale. With your inhale, rebend your front knee, come back through that low lunge just for a moment. Tucking your back toes, begin to lift your back knee, setting up for our high lunge. So once you feel that kind of anchoring down through the balls of your feet, then you can start to walk your hands up to your thigh, start to lift your chest, and find your crescent lunge. So any arm variation that feels good to you today, maybe finding that wall to help you out here as well. And we'll stay for those 2 rounds of breath. Inhale. Exhale. Think about dropping your hips down. As you inhale, spine is tall. As you exhale, feet are rooted to the mat. Now inhale, think about shifting all of your weight forward. As you exhale, little steps or one big step to the top of your mat, staying balanced on that left leg. Awesome. So playing around once again with that tree pose, if you'd like to go there today. So you have the option to do as we did before, maybe hovering the foot, lifting knee to chest, or you can follow me into our tree pose. So let's start by finding those foundations of the left leg, plugging in through your foot, kneecap up to your hips, hips hugging together. Then opening through your right hip, that right knee is going to turn out to the side. Slide your right heel in until it's touching your left ankle. So we have kind of this sassy pose through the right leg. Ball of the foot is on the floor, heel is on your ankle. But notice if you start to shift your hips out to the side, see if you can bring everything back to center. Remember, building with those Lego blocks, we want to make sure that the base, the foundation is really nice and strong so that you can stay tall and supported through the top of the pose. Awesome. So this is our tree pose part 1, beautiful place to be. You can stay, find a place to focus on that is not moving so you can stay steady and take a few breaths here. If you'd like to play with taking this to kind of the next level, so to speak, you can slide that right foot up to your inner left calf. Again, making sure that you're not on that knee joint at all, you're underneath the knee, and you're keeping that right hip open. Awesome. Hands on hips, finding a wall, maybe even hands to heart center if that help keeps you balanced. And let's stay for 2 intentional rounds of breath all together. Anytime you can come out of the pose, if you fall out of it, you can come back in, no big deal, all part of our yoga practice. So all together, we just have one more inhale here. Stay for the exhale. Breath to transition as you inhale in your balance. As you exhale, slowly unwind, stepping both feet flat onto the mat. Take a moment to shake it out if that feels good. Notice how you feel now through both sides of your body after doing both sides of that tree pose. And one last time today, let's meet in our mountain pose at the top of the mat. Feet planted, lifting your spine up tall. Take a breath in through your nose. Breathe out through your nose or mouth. Then breathing in, sweep your arms to the sky. Breathing out, begin to fold forward, letting your knees bend. Now bend your knees a lot until your hands or your fingertips can find your yoga mat. And then slowly start to walk your feet towards the back of your mat, keeping your hips lifted, passing back through that downward facing dog. Take one breath in here, rooting through the hands and feet. As you breathe out, lightly bring your knees down to the mat. And then shifting your hips to one side, swing those legs around in front of you, and let's find a seated position on your mat. So once again, if you'd like to sit on your blanket or whatever prop you might have today, finding that comfortable cross-legged seat and taking a moment to simply pause at this point in our practice. So sitting up nice and tall, maybe your eyes are closed, maybe you have that soft gaze in front of you. Giving yourself a moment to breathe, to feel your body after all that movement, and to kind of soak in everything that you just did, everything you just accomplished on your yoga mat. Take this moment to feel it all, to take it all in. And all together, let's take an inhale through the nose. Open your mouth and exhale. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale. And sigh it out. One more inhale. Let it out. Wonderful. If your eyes are closed, slowly flutter them open. If you are sitting on a prop, gently move it off to the side. And as you feel ready, begin to lay down all the way onto your back. So taking a moment to lower yourself down onto your yoga mat. As you arrive, bend your knees and plant the soles of your feet onto the floor. Allow your arms to rest wherever they feel most natural, perhaps by your sides or on your belly. And feel yourself now really supported by your yoga mat. Relaxing your body. Feeling your spine nice and long, your belly relaxed. Let's take a breath in right here. And breath out. So part of our balance practice is not just physically balancing on one foot, but also creating this sense of balance in the body. So we did some forward folding, some side bending. We're going to end our practice with a little bit of back bending and twisting, just so we get all these nice movements for the body and everything is kind of balanced out by the end of our practice today. So feet are planted on the floor, hips with distance, maybe a little bit wider, that's a-okay. Thinking about stacking the knees just on top of or slightly behind your ankles, and arms resting by your sides. Now it might feel helpful here as you kind of draw your shoulder blades down onto your mat to grab the outer edges of your mat with your hands. As you grab the mat, think about pulling your mat apart. And as you pull the mat out, you're going to feel your shoulder blades kind of come underneath you. All right? So use that little trick if you'd like, pulling the mat apart with the hands, pushing down through your feet. Take your next inhale to rise your hips any amount off the floor, finding what we call our bridge pose. So really push through your feet, keeping your knees centered. So we're not opening out, we're not collapsing in, but we're keeping that sense of center. Let's take just one more inhale here with the hips lifted. As you exhale, slowly lower all the way back down. You got it. Keep that pushing through the feet, hugging shoulder blades underneath you as you inhale and rise the hips once again. As you exhale, slowly lower down. Just a couple more times here. Inhaling to lift your hips, chest moving towards your chin, chin away from the chest. Exhale, slowly lower down. Please do this 2 more times, following your own breath. So as you inhale, lift your hips. And as you exhale, lower your hips down. We've got one more round here, lifting your hips with that breath in. And as you breathe out, slowly release back onto the mat. As you land, relax your arms, your hips, your legs. Notice how you feel. One leg at a time, begin to draw your knees in towards your chest, hugging maybe across the shins or the backs of the thighs. And giving yourself just a moment to maybe rock side to side, or just give yourself a nice big hug. And we'll finish out our practice with a little bit of twist action here for the spine. So legs will stay together for this one, whether they're touching or not, doesn't really matter. But gently bring your thighs away from your nose. So it's almost like we're creating this tabletop position, this 90-degree angle with the legs. Now your arms can spread out to your sides, either in this T shape or in a cactus shape with the elbow bent. Please take an inhale right here. As you exhale, begin to lower your knees towards the left side of your mat, coming all the way down until your legs find the floor in a twist. Now notice if your right shoulder really starts to pop up off the mat. In that case, we're going to prioritize bringing the shoulder down and perhaps bringing a pillow or something underneath the legs so that you can keep this nice twist through the spine. You might also like to bring a prop in between the legs just to help you kind of stack the hips and find this length as you twist. So really, this is all about making the pose work for your body and not the other way around. So please feel free to add props, readjust the shape as much as you need to so that you can find a comfortable position. And we're going to stay here for 5 rounds of breath. You got this. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose or mouth. That's 1. Let's inhale for 2. Exhale for 2. Maybe the eyes are closed as you inhale for 3. And exhale for 3. Relaxing the fingers and toes. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 4. Last one, inhale for 5. And exhale for 5. Now with your next natural inhale, slowly begin to roll yourself back through center, coming back onto your back. Pausing here for as long as you'd like, just to kind of feel your body reset before we come to the other side. When you're ready to find that twist on the other side, legs again will be together, thighs away from your nose, arms spreading out to your sides. Taking an inhale to prepare, and an exhale to drop your knees towards that right side of your yoga mat. Thinking about stacking your legs, stacking your hips, and keeping the chest nice and open as you twist. So again, so many options to bring props underneath the legs and between the legs. Whatever feels really comfy cozy for you here. Looking for that sweet sensation through the spine as you twist. Releasing any last bits of tightness around the body here. And once again, we're going to stay for 5 rounds of breath. Noticing that as we stay a little bit longer in these postures, that your breath really has the power to deepen your experience here. So you don't have to push your body into all these pretzel-y shapes to really get the benefits of yoga. Instead, finding that place in the shape that feels right for you and letting your breath do the rest. So at this point, we have about 3 more rounds of breath left. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale here. And exhale completely. Last one, inhale. And exhale. With your inhale, slowly rolling back onto your back, coming to lay flat on the floor once again. Noticing how you feel through your spine, through your body after those twists. And starting to settle in for our final resting pose, what we call Shavasana in our yoga practice. So Shavasana really is just a comfortable resting pose where you can stay and relax and soak in the benefits of your yoga practice. So for you, that might be what we call our corpse pose, which is legs extended long, arms resting by your sides with the palms face up, and either eyes closed or gaze really soft, looking up at the ceiling. If this shape doesn't feel super great for your body, that's okay. You always have the option to keep your feet planted, Maybe you bring a prop underneath your knees. You might even like to roll to one side or even come up to seated if that feels more comfortable to you. So once again, making the pose work for your body, not the other way around. Finding a place that feels comfortable for you. And letting yourself settle into stillness for the next minute or so that we're going to spend here together. So if you need to, get out any final wiggles, any final little movements in your body so that you can be still. Allowing your eyes to close if that feels safe and comfortable for you. Or finding that soft gaze above you towards the ceiling. Just like we did at the start of our practice today, I invite you to scan your awareness through your body from head to toe. And notice if there are any areas of your body where you could invite in a little bit more relaxation, a little bit more softness. So perhaps relaxing that space between your eyebrows, unclenching your jaw, relaxing your belly. Inviting in this gentleness and ease as you settle into this place of rest. And if you find at any point that your mind begins to wander, your attention begins to wander off of your yoga mat, just gently bring yourself back to your breath, back to the sensations in your body, to help you keep your attention on you, on your yoga. And let's stay for about another 45 seconds here in silence to really soak in your practice today. All together, let's take a breath in here and breath out. Bringing your awareness back to your physical space, feeling where your body is resting on your yoga mat. And if it feels right for you, inviting some gentle movements back into your body, like wiggling your fingers and toes or rolling your wrists and ankles. Letting yourself move and stretch in any way that feels good as you reawaken from this Shavasana. And if you're laying on your back, gently roll to either side of your body here, taking your time as you transition and using your hands to press yourself up to once again find a seated position on your yoga mat. As you come up to seated, take a moment to find that nice tall spine once again. Feeling your hips rooting down into the earth. And if it feels right for you, bringing your hands together to meet in front of your heart. Sealing your practice today with a few moments of gratitude. Thanking yourself for showing up to your yoga mat today. For showing up for yourself. And I thank you so much for meeting me on the mat. Namaste. Be well.